The year was, well, I stopped counting years ages ago. Maybe it was 2047, maybe 2050. Who the hell knew anymore? All I knew was the world outside was a ruin, a husk, and I, Elias Vance, was just another piece of debris sifting through the remains. My sanctuary, if you could call it that, was a dimly lit room in what used to be a community college library, somewhere in the forgotten Midwest. Dust motes danced in the weak beam of my desk lamp, a constant reminder of how much was gone. My days were a blur of trying to piece things back together. Not the world, that was beyond saving, I figured, but the information, the knowledge. I clung to it, to the idea that if I could just understand why everything collapsed, maybe it wouldn't all be for nothing. My current obsession was the digital library, a network of old servers I'd miraculously brought back online. It was a dark, quiet beacon in a world that had forgotten how to turn on a light switch. One evening, I was hunched over my monitor, the pale blue glow casting long shadows on my unshaven face. I was poring over some old digital records, fragments of history before the Great Silence truly set in, specifically focusing on the last recorded presidential address. It was a grainy video, full of static, but the man's face, etched with desperation, was clear enough. I rewound a particular moment, a crucial pause before he announced nothing meaningful, just more despair. As the video replayed, his face, for a split second, I swear it, flickered. It blurred into a mess of pixels, like a broken television screen, then snapped back to normal. "Damn old graphic card," I muttered, my voice rough from disuse. I traced the line of my jaw, feeling the stubble. I shook my head, like you do when an old machine acts up. Probably just these rusty old systems acting up. Or a dodgy connection. Everything's falling apart. Why wouldn't the data too? I tried to convince myself. But a tiny, cold knot formed low in my gut. Just a flicker. Nothing serious. Days crawled by. I continued my work, trying to catalog what I could, restoring the scattered fragments of scientific journals, forgotten histories, even old poetry. Sometimes a file would be corrupted in a strange way. A key word in an ancient economic policy paper, a word that would change the entire meaning of the sentence, would pop up as a typo. I'd try to fix it, of course, but the system would always spit back an error message. Read only, corrupted file. I'd just shrug, annoyed. Nothing I could do. Old tech, I told myself. It happened. But then, one day, I was arranging some old family photographs on the screen. It was a familiar, comforting ritual, tracing the outlines of lost smiles with my mouse. My fingers, thin and calloused, moved slowly. I paused at a picture of Sarah, my younger sister, and me when we were kids. We were at Central Park, maybe a picnic. The sun was bright, her hair was a tangle of gold. Everything about that picture was etched into my memory, every detail a source of bittersweet comfort. I dragged the image, zoomed in a bit, just to see her clear, smiling face. That's when I saw it. A tiny black dot. It was on her left wrist, just below her sleeve. Like a small, dark tattoo. I knew Sarah. I knew her better than anyone. She never had a tattoo. Not then, not ever. The dot was just there. And then it wasn't. It shimmered, seemed to fade, then materialized again. Not a smudge on the screen. No, it was on her, in the digital image. "Sarah, "You never had a tattoo, did you?" I whispered, my finger hovering over the screen. I squeezed my eyes shut, then opened them again, trying to clear away whatever dust or tired hallucination was clinging to my vision. Maybe I'm seeing things, a speck of dirt on the screen, that's all, or my eyes are just playing tricks. I even tried to wipe the screen with my sleeve, but the dot, faint but definitely there, remained. "It's not logical," I muttered, a frown deepening between my eyebrows. "I must be remembering it wrong, or maybe the old monitors just got a dead pixel." The explanation felt hollow, even to my own ears. The subtle changes grew. The typo I'd seen in that political document, the one I couldn't fix. I went back to it a few days later, checking something else. It was no longer there. The sentence was grammatically correct, but the meaning had shifted again. Instead of the original, it now hinted at